Hello there, it's Violet, and I want to share a little bit of crystal alchemy with you today. What have we here? Take a minute, press pause. Do you know what it is? Well, if you know the title, then you probably know what it is. But if you haven't worked with them firsthand, I'd love to share with you a little bit of what I love about Seer Stones. Okay, as you can see, we have these beautiful, frosty, kind of roughly tumbled quartz chunks. And right here, we've got rose quartz, lightly smokified smoky quartz, and clear quartz. Okay, I'd like to go into a little bit about each of the stones before I get into talking about how I work with them. But first, I want to talk about how we are going to look at them, okay? So here we have a off-white satin background. Initially, I had this black and plum lace background. Now, you can do this in the light. You can do this in a dark room. You can bring a candle. You know what a candle is? It's that burning thing with wax, and sometimes it smells nice. Anyway, this is basically a crystal scrying method. Now, if you haven't done any scrying and you're drawn to it, by all means, please do it. This is really cool. If it's something you're not familiar with and you'd like to experiment, you've probably heard about scrying into a candle or into a mirror or into water. But first, let me break this down by background. So if we are looking at the rose quartz, we can see that this beautiful specimen has a lot of foils and fractures and some fogginess in it, okay? Now, that's normal for rose quartz. It's very hard to find super duper clear rose quartz. And sometimes it's really pale. You don't get that like delicious, yummy pink. Now, this, as you can see, my finger through the back, okay? That will affect how I'm going to look. This, slightly, but again, lots of little hairs, lots of little fuzzy bits. Let me see if I can focus better. Okay. All right. Again, you can see my finger through it because of the translucence. All right. This affects it. How you work with a seer stone is directly involved with your state of mind and how deep you can put yourself into a trance-like state, and the softening of your eyes. So you can soften your glare, you can soften your gaze, you can allow the eyes to perceive light and texture and tone versus, say, direct angles, images, stuff like that. All right, I'm going to change up the situation and we're going to do a little experiment, okay? Hang on. Alrighty, as you can see, I laid out the dark colored cloth. I put the candle out. I'm going to allow the candlelight to shine through. I'd like for you all to experiment with different ways of looking. Now remember, when you're working with any scrying tools, You may be channeling, yes, but pretty much you're just working with your higher self, okay? Remember that. This intuitive life is a trusting one, all right? You can't continue to question it and expect it to work. Let's look at this. Lots of layers going on in here. And I'm just using this to experiment with. This would also change, the view would change if I were in a darkened room. But I'm not. I don't want to mess with another setup, so we're just going to go with this for now. So I think you're going to get it. And you can see the layers and the dimensions. Yes. And lastly, so getting to know your Seer Stones. Getting to know where there are pockets of cloudiness and foils, little hairs, where there are pockets of extra clarity. So let me go back to the other background, and from there I can explain a little bit more about ways to use them. Okay, for this smoky quartz, I chose to leave the dark background because I find that the contrast is a little bit more dynamic, and therefore it helps with a certain depth of field versus the white. So if you are looking into, say, the heart of the matter, you might want to use rose quartz, all right? If you are looking into the shadow and the hidden realms of the matter, you might want to use smoky quartz. And if you are working with the light of the matter or the all-encompassing energy of the matter, you can work with the clear quartz. I think all three are fantastic, but it's up to you to make a connection with stones and to work with them as feels right for you. So let's go back. Oh, hold on. I have to put this down to focus better. Okay. There we go. A little bit more of a close-up. Okay. Window reflections. Alrighty. So I can see rainbows in here. I can see an angel wing. I can see a mountain. I can see a waterfall. Alrighty. What that means to me is going to be very personal. If I am reading into the heart of my own matter, then I need to analyze this. And I don't think that there is a hard and fast, definitive explanation for what we see. This is like dream analysis. You can get a book on dream analysis, but I think it's bullshit. That's just me. Take it or leave it. What one person associates with one thing can be completely different than another. And although there are going to be some similarities, falling, right? angel wing, rainbow. There will be similarities. But if you've had an experience dynamically, positive, negative, or otherwise, that has affected the way you perceive, then it's right. No book, no fucking guru is going to tell you what to think and what to feel. So I don't subscribe to that analysis. Now, listen, I got 4 things in Virgo. I know about analysis. I can write books about analysis, analyzing analysis. So I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. But again, take it or leave it. It's up to you. We're all here on our own path. We are our own stories, nobody else. So this one's a little bit harder to tell. I'm gonna need the dark. What do we see? What do we see? I see lightning. I see a small egg. And I see a hut made out of mud with a thatched roof. I see cat fur on the lace. Hee hee. Let's try this one again. All right. I see a giant eye. A giant eye above a point and a crest, like a capstone kind of a thing, right? All-seeing eye. I see a dolphin. I see crystalline snowflakes growing. And I see an old grandpa leaning over. Now, I will review these later for myself. Okay? Not to influence too much, share too much about the messages. But if any of these messages, any of these intuitive visions speak to you, my suggestion is that you sit down in a quiet place, perhaps with a candle on or with soft, wordless music, binaural beats, isochronic tones, something to get you into a meditative theta state, a nice hot bath with candles, and write out some journal entries about whatever these are. Say, Grandpa leaning over really spoke to you, or Angel Wing really spoke to you. I love doing the free write, especially if you can just soften your gaze and don't worry too much about punctuation and stuff like that. I find it helpful for me to cross my T's and dot my I's because my handwriting can get a little janky when I'm in that state, and it could be really difficult for me to read it later. So even if there's just a little wisp of a cross right next to an upswing on my writing, I will be able to tell what it is later. I have done lots of free writing and this channeled writing where it was impossible for me to read what I wrote, and I'm usually pretty good about that. So just know yourself, that's what all of this is about. We are just seeking to know ourselves better. We are just seeking to look deep within for clues, for arrows pointing us in directions, for dogs barking out on the sidewalk. We're just looking inside so that we don't have to look so much outside, right? It's kind of why I suggest that you make your own associations versus going to books and looking online at somebody else's blah, blah, blah about it. We are choice-centered beings. We choose the path. Perhaps not entirely, but we choose the footsteps we take on our path, okay? Some things are just kind of what they are, you know? And we have to go along experiencing within that parameter. Things take time, you know? Understanding takes time. The path takes time. And wherever you are on your path of spirituality, of healing, of growth, of self-knowledge, just know that's the right place. It's the right place. And something might feel spot on today, but tomorrow it doesn't really resonate. That's okay too. You could circle back, or perhaps it's just a little tiny blip on the chronology of perceived time of who we are. All right, loves. Boop. I hope that spoke to you. Drop me a comment. Let me know. Did you like it? Did you connect? Do you like to scry? What do you use to scry? Have you used Seer Stones? Let me know. All right. Much love. Have a fantastic day. Bye. Hey, Rose Quartz, what do you want? Me. Oh, okay.